So what I didn't realize at the time, and was to have a great effect on me later, was the number in the catalogue of this Urbino Isarato plate was 135, and that number has been with me ever since. It's just led me to different things all the time. Synchronicity of that 351, 135, the numbers can be in different orders, but it's just been remarkable how that number has turned up. It was my telephone number as well in the days when there was 3-digit telephone numbers, but it's been with me all my life, and it's led me to some great adventures and revelations and synchronicities. So back in the mid-70s, I was working for an auctioneering firm, fine art auctioneering firm. I was young, and my mentor, his name was Brian Bean, and he was autistic, we would call it today, but he was also brilliant. He had a photographic memory, and he taught me so much about art and antiques. I'm really grateful to him. So one day I was sent off to do my calls to go and look at different houses and different people's objects and things. This was my daily life. It was brilliant life, just driving around Devon and Cornwall. Amazing. And so I went on my call to North Devon, which is it's a very remote part of England, really, North Devon. And I went down this track. It was a farmhouse, like a farmhouse. And I came to this rather beautiful house, very remote house. It was a deceased estate. The guy had died. And the solicitor opened the door and said, "In you go, have a look." I went in. I was amazed by what was there, just stunned. It was beautiful furniture. He'd been a professor of archaeology, I think, at Cambridge, had retired to Devon, and he had all these amazing things. And one of the things was this Urbino Isarato plate. I didn't know that at the time, and this is just an image of it here in black and white. So anyway, what happened was we took the objects, had a van take the objects to the auction room, and every Friday we would go around as a group and look at all the objects that came in and designate them and catalogue them and that sort of thing. And anyway, I showed Brian this plate. I mean, he was usually spot on. He said, "No, it's a fake, Simon. It's not real. It can't be real. A Renaissance plate by a master." And I didn't argue with him, because you couldn't argue with him. So he put it in a general household sale. We had, the art side, the antique side, and the general sale. So anyway, one day I went into the sale room, and it was being catalogued as a reproduction plate. And I said to the porter, my friend there, I said, "Look, just buy it. I'll leave a bid on, 10, 20 pounds, whatever." Anyway, I forgot about it, and he phoned me up and said, "Simon, I bought that plate for you for £10. I said, "Okay, right." And I went and collected it and looked at it, and the more I looked at it, the more I realized this is something very special. It just had that quality, that feeling, that energy. I just don't know. So I went to London to Christie's and turned up at the front desk, and usually they're pretty snotty, they're a very arrogant sort of group of people. I mean that in the nicest possible way. So this guy comes running down. When he'd seen the image, they had a camera and they showed it to the expert. He came running down and said, "Where did you find this plate?" And I said, "Well, it was in a farmhouse in North Devon." He said, "This is 15th century Renaissance. It's a Renaissance painting. It's known as Urbino Isarato, Majorca. And Majorca is a tin glaze over pottery." And he said, "Just look at the way it's painted." And it depicts Mars making love to Venus. It came up for sale about 3 months later in a specialist sale. And bear in mind, this is the mid-1970s, and it cost me £10. And I got a phone call from the auction room out of the blue. I'd forgotten about it, really. And they said, "That plate, it did quite well. It made £8,000. £8,000 in 1975 would be worth, I don't know what now, 30, 40, 50,000, something like that. Anyway, it changed my life. It absolutely changed my life. I decided, based on that money out of the blue from a treasure that I discovered, I thought, oh, this is easy. I'll start doing this for a living. I'll become a dealer. So I bought myself an estate car. I quit the job, much to Brian's. I never told Brian that what I'd done, because it would have been difficult for him to take, I think, And so I went out searching for treasure. And that sort of is the basis of Diary of a Mad Yogi, that's in the book, is a similar instance which I borrowed from the 70s, my own experience of finding this treasure. And when I became a dealer, I became aware of these people who followed their intuition to find objects. They didn't buy necessarily just on their knowledge. They would buy something because they felt the energy of it, they felt the quality of it. And I've been fascinated ever since by hidden treasure. Things that are put away and forgotten about and then come to light at a specific time to be found again. And that's why I wove that story into the book. And shortly after, I was actually in mid-Devon. It was a market sale, so it was like there were sheep and pigs and things, and there was the surplus contents of farmhouses that were put up for auction. And I similarly found a Dutch 17th century painting, a little miniature painting of a drunk man by an artist called Cornelius de Sart. And I didn't know anything about it. I thought, I don't know what this is, but I feel I have to buy it. It didn't cost me very much. And similarly, it made, I think it was 3,000 or 4,000 I sold it for. So I thought, well, this is easy. But of course, there was a lot more to it than that. This didn't happen every day. But it set within me the idea of treasure hunting. And I wanted to, most of all, write about that. And the treasure hunting on the outside for objects turned around into treasure hunting on the inside for truth, for awakening, for spiritual development. So it's just that contrast that I wanted to write about. So that's the story of the Bino Isarato plate and the drunken painting by a Dutch master. There are more. There were a few more, but that's enough for now. Thank you.